So Sunday is International Jazz Day, and we thought it would be a good opportunity to just talk a little bit about jazz in South Africa. Is it flourishing? And some of the issues that have been highlighted not only by musicians but by people promoting the art form, saying one of the problems, for instance, is just a shortage of venues where people can play. Small size venues. My mind goes to the old baseline back in Melville or Kippie's downtown. So to talk about this, we're joined by jazz guitarist Billy Monama. Billy, welcome and thanks very much for your time. Obviously, live music is a key part of what you do. How difficult has that been over the last few years? We'll leave aside COVID, obviously, because that affected music of all kinds. But currently now, if you and others want to perform and, maybe get in a residence somewhere, are there enough venues in Gauteng, for example?
Let me start by greeting you, John, and your listeners. I've been doing research about that, the economic, the advancement, in the creative industry. And last year I wrote a presentation to SACO about this matter. So, jazz is a music that was popular back in the 90s, in terms of monetary value. But it comes far from the 1950s. In the 1950s, it was very big. And when the exiles, they came back, the Yuma Sikelas, the Miriam Makeba, it was a notable, music. And in the early 2000s, the sound started to change. And each and every 10 years, we see a new music style coming into the business. Right. And that music style, it comes with its own innovators. So now you look at my piano now, they are innovators of that. The Kwaito, they have its own innovators. So now the business of it is of jazz. It will never be the same as back in the day, like you mentioned, as a bass line, right? Now let's talk about bass line.
Can I ask you why, Billy? I mean, because when we look at awards, be they SAMAs or any others, there is still lots of really exciting and interesting jazz music being produced. Why
but
even
that music? But that music, first of all, you only hear it on Sunday.
Yes.
You hear that music on Sunday, So it's that thing is just ticking the box that we have the category, of that thing. That music, we don't get the same royalties that, popular music or dance music, they get. I mean, ask me, if I tell you my return from the royalties, you will laugh about this. So, look, I don't want to get into the royalties, but the state of economy right now, it influences people, the jazz lovers, to not be able to go to the shows.
Right.
So now, if I say the ticket is 250, and when they get there, they still have to have refreshment, food. So now, the economic climate, it does not, it's not conducive for jazz lovers as well. Unless then it will be for the middle class. And the people who consume jazz music, they are older musicians who are very reluctant to leave their houses. Some they end up buying the CDs and say, "Oh, I will listen to this CD." That's when then there are so many jazz clubs, jazz societies that jazz groups just together on Sunday and play CDs because they cannot afford to come to the venues. And then the venues, they need a support from the government. I mean, there's a lot of money from Department of Arts and Culture. All these institutions that they are meant to support arts. I think they should come to support, those venues, because if they don't, those venues, they can't survive. Then they do what? Then they get shut down.
So Billy, is there any public money invested in jazz at all, be it in festivals, be it in education in music schools or in schools themselves?
Well, there is money, but that money still, it's like you ask for 100 rand and they give you 10 rand, and then they expect you to deliver the 10 rand work. You know what I'm saying? So and we have to go out and showcase their posters. Their logos, and then you look at this event. It has all the logos. At that time, they only gave us like 10 rand. Like monetary, unfortunately no. But there are, international, institutions like
Yes.
Pro Helvetia that they are supporting jazz music, and many jazz musicians, we see them going to Switzerland to perform.
So, what venues still exist for jazz in Gauteng? Which ones are alive and kicking?
There are very few, I know Edikeni, is in Santen, and, I know the other one is in Braamfontein. I forgot the name of the venue, but look, there are very few. I can count them with my one. There's Marabi Jazz as well there, but it's not business as usual, because you must understand, it just live performance, it has to do with numbers. And not many people, they listen to jazz. And the reason they don't listen to jazz is because it's not the music that it comes on prime time.
Thanks very much, Billy Monama, jazz guitarist. So jazz lovers out there, Billy's saying that there's just not a market and enough people willing to go to venues. Other people may respond and say, well, we would go if there were more venues, if there was more choice, if there was more opportunity. I'd love to hear. I lived in Melville for many, many years, and the Baseline was a thriving place. So it was a regular haunt for me. It was well priced, as I recall, and it was a venue I could walk to and walk home from. I accept those are very, very different days. But even if it was a musician I hadn't heard of, I would stick my head in and stay for a set or two and longer if I really enjoyed it, and look them up if some of those performers came back. And I really developed some firm favorites and would seek them out when they were playing at other venues as well. But jazz lovers, it's a habit I've got out of. I think the last time I went was to the venue in Braamfontein, and my mind has just gone blank. And I think I might have seen one of the last concerts there, Paul Hanmo. Won't forget it. It was a terrific, terrific evening of music. Yeah, my mind's just gone blank on the venue, DeCorter Street. Go up some stairs. There it was. It was a brilliant place, but that's closed too. And of course, COVID wouldn't have helped with getting anything else going. So, jazz lovers, tell us where you go. Would you go more if there was more going on?